One thing I love about designing adventures is making them self-sufficient, and that's why across all of our races we tend to have a self-sufficient nature. Now we're going to do separate videos on what you might pack into your bag, about kit and trying to keep your weight low and all those kind of tips. But what I thought I'd do is just show you around what kind of decisions you might make for the right backpack for you, and little tips and tricks to make sure that you can become just as one with this bag when you're going on these long adventures. So the first 3 things to consider is fit, position and movement. The fit of your bag is going to be really, really important, especially if you're female. Now most bag suppliers haven't really locked this down yet, and I imagine for you guys it's almost like fitting a bra. Back size and bust is going to factor in what size you will need. So I would always recommend trying your bag on in a store, or making sure there's a good returns policy on the brand to make sure you can try it on and send it back if it doesn't fit. Ultimately what you want is the front part of the pack to almost be at the point where your rib cage ends. So you can see on this bag that I've got, my rib cage ends here. It's nice and high up my back. There's no movement. I can hardly get my fingers in through the straps. And actually if this bag was full, it's so high up my back that with a backwards cap on, if I move my head back, it would hit the top of it. And that's when you know that your bag position is right. If you can feel movement and you can't tighten those things up, and you can get your hands in freely and you can see that it's moving, then try a different bag or try a different size. Most bags come in small, medium or large. Ultimately, the fit is to try and prevent movement. Movement could be catastrophic on a long race like ours. Your bag can move in many ways. It can move from side to side, laterally, especially if there's weight in there swinging it. It can go up and down, or it can also go out and back. Any major movement like that over 6, 7, 8 hour days is going to cause havoc and friction marks all over your back. We can try it with the layers that we're going to run an event in, but making sure that we've got that nice tight fit and that there's limited movement and it doesn't move from side to side, up and down, especially when we start moving. Now common friction points occur where the bag connects at the bottom end of your back and your shoulders. And there are strategies you can do to prevent that. So if there is a bit of movement, you can pre-tape, so you can tape the bottom of your back, you can tape your shoulders, and we'll do separate videos on taping, or you can even add padding to this if you feel like you're low on body fat and the bag is digging into your shoulder muscles here. So the next 3 things are durability, functional space and literage. So durability, the last thing you want is to get in the middle of nowhere and your bag snap. There are particular brands that sacrifice the durability for lightness. So saving an extra couple of grams could mean that your bag rips and we end up having to gaffer tape it or safety pin it at some point, which is a bit stressful. So go for a bag that's tried and tested and that you know will go for a long duration. There's plenty of blogs on that. I am not sponsored by any brands, but my preferred brand every time is Ultimate Direction. This bag has been with me forever. I've been through miles and miles and miles with it. The next thing is functional space. Now this depends on the type of runner you are. It depends if you're competing or completing, but where you might put water bottles, side pockets, zips, front space for snacks, it all factors in. And you want to make sure that it's right for you. You might be a runner that wants a front weighted belt on as well to put extra stuff in. For me personally, I just want to be able to access everything I need in a stage just here, right in front of me, without having to faff around going in pockets. The final thing is the literage of the bag. So what it can hold, and is that true to what the brand's saying? It's even better if you can maneuver that bag to be smaller or larger. So for example, with these bags, you can bring it up to a 25 litre, or you can fold it down to a 20 litre or even a 15. A lot of bags do that now because they recognise that you need to close in the space as your bag's getting emptier. And then the final 3 things are more about what goes into your bag and how you treat it. So weight is really, really important. And when you look at multi-day races, one of the common things and the chat is how we can get our bag lighter and how we can make these little hacks and do weight saving tips. We won't talk about that on this video, but what I will talk about is what goes into your bag and when. Now the common thing that happens is people will pack on their days. I'm going to use this stuff on day 1, this stuff on day 2, because that makes sense. I want everything accessible to me if I need to stop and go get it, so medical items tend to be at the bottom and all those kind of things. Because we want to restrict the movement of the bag and we want to make it as comfortable as possible, we have to put that aside and look at weight distribution across the board. So all of your heavier items, which tends to be food, needs to be at the top of your bag, in the center of your back. Lighter items and spacious items, so things in dry bags, sleeping bags and things, need to be at the bottom. That way, all of the weight is in the top central part of your bag and is going to stop that movement in and out, or that swaying. Once your weight is there and you've got that weight distribution right, you want to make sure it's balanced left to right. If you've got water bottles on this side and not on this side, isn't a problem at the beginning, but if you're doing 12, 14, 18-hour days, it will add an extra bit of weight to one side of your leg where it can cause an injury further down the line. So make sure that not only is it balanced, heavier stuff at the top, lighter stuff at the bottom and packed around the sides, but you've got things balanced left and right to make sure that you've got everything balanced and distributed the way that it should. And finally, we ought to be looking at space saving and space filling as much as possible. You can vacuum pack food by decanting it into other bags, which will save massive amounts of space. So a bag of food this big can become that big, and that means that you're going to get more items into a smaller literage. And the whole thing for that is you don't want to carry more than you need, and that's the fine art in this self-sufficient racing. But one thing you can also consider is as your bag is getting lighter and things are leaving your bag, it will start to sway again because you've got that space and that maneuverability for things to move. So as your bag is getting emptier and things are starting to come out and you're getting that really good feeling of a lighter pack again, if you have a sleeping bag or a bivvy bag or something in there, open it up. Let that fill the space of the bag to make sure that it's filling and padding the gaps that are created from the lack of items, and that will stop the swing and the movement and the friction points too. So there's some top tips on what you can do to make sure your bag is the best fit and the right thing for you. We'll create extra videos in time about what can go into them and how you can save weight, but best of luck, and if you've got any questions, just reach out to us or any of our team. We'll talk about this stuff all day long.